Independent Director, ex-partner PwC, who's joining us for more on this. Mr. Mathur, we spoke last week about the dangers facing passenger safety, the aviation industry. Are you satisfied with what the DGCA has come in with today?
Yeah, you see, one of the key problems here is on account of maintenance staff. There is a shortage, and that shortage has probably been exacerbated by two things. One has been the spurt in the aviation, both the domestic and international traffic. So there are more flights now that are up in the air. And secondly, there were a lot of layoffs during the COVID pandemic. So these two factors combined have created a situation where there is a shortage of staff. And in some of the airlines, there are also issues on the HR front in terms of dissatisfied employees complaining about pay cuts not being restored, perks not being available, promotions not getting commensurate pay hikes, and so on. So therefore, this is an HR issue, and I think the airlines need to squarely deal with it. And by so mandating, what the DGCR has effectively done is that it's putting a regulatory, it has issued a regulatory mandate on the airline that they must have the qualified staff. If they don't have it, then they need to cancel their flights, as is happening across the world, particularly in Europe.
Now, the question is that how linked is this, Mr. Mathur, to the issue we saw of no increase in pay? We spoke about the mass leaves, and in two of those cases, it was aircraft maintenance staff that had also gone on mass leave. Are we seeing the direct impact of that in all of these cases of diverted flights, technical snags, etc.?
Not in all cases. As I said, there are three key reasons for it. There is a shortage of staff. The passenger traffic has gone up. There are more flights now that are taking off and landing. Plus, you have the problem of disgruntled staff. So all three of these combined, essentially, it's an HR problem.
So what next, Mr. Mathur? Tell me about this certification, which the DGCA said will be required, this AME certification. What exactly does it mean? And do we have enough talent pool, enough people in the system with that certification? Wasn't that happening anyway? One would expect that someone who's qualified would be certifying the safety and tech checks of these aircrafts.
Yeah, see, this is also partly an HR issue. I think it's about how you designate a person with the necessary qualifications, and this is one of the grievances that the maintenance staff have had with some of the airlines, that though they had the qualifications, they were not so designated, and hence they were working at a scale pay grade lower than what they were qualified to operate at. So, as I said, essentially, there are shortages because of the reasons that I mentioned. That is a fact. During the pandemic, world over, airlines had to let go of staff, and that happened in India as well. Now, to get everybody back on board, trained, retrained, etc., will take some time. So it's not that we had this problem. We always had this problem. No, we didn't have this problem pre-pandemic. This is a situation that we're facing largely on account of the pandemic.
Okay.
In fact, all three of the reasons that I think are.
No, but I mean, there can be no reason for compromise with safety of passengers.
Absolutely not.
I mean, it's scary, frankly. Samir is on the phone line. My colleague Samir is on the phone line.
I completely agree with you, and as I said, what airlines should do is they have to cancel flights if they don't have the manpower to service them.
I'm astonished that's not already happening. Samir, I want to understand this. You've covered this DGCA circular. You've been covering the story, and you've broken the key parts of the story as we've been tracking it. What is the implication of this DGCA circular?
So if you see the entire circular, the most surprising part is that during the inspection, what DGCA have found out. So if you go step by step, the first important thing that DGCA has indicated is that there is improper identification of the cause of defect. This simply means that airlines, the technicians, they are not identifying the technical glitches properly. The first and the serious issue that has been raised. The second part is that the minimum equipment list, it is not there, and the airlines or the technicians, they are not adhering to it. They are not maintaining the minimum equipment list. Similarly, during the inspection check, it has also been identified that non-availability of the required certifying staff. Now, we all know that when the aircraft has to take off, then there has to be a proper certification by the airline deputed staff. So this proper certification is not there, which is a serious lapse on the part of airline, and because of which we have seen that many times these sort of technical glitches have been reported. So these are some of the serious issues that have been raised by the DGCA during the inspection checks, and that is the reason that now the aviation watchdog has clearly said that by 28th of July, the airlines have to comply by the new rule. They have to certify the aircraft by the certifying staff who hold the proper license, and then only the aircraft can take off either from the transit or from the base station.
To understand this,
So
I
these
asked
are
this
some of the-
question to Dhiraj Mathur as well. So does this
Yeah.
mean that before this and till the 28th of July and up till now, people without the proper certification were the ones who were clearing flights?
It could be understood this way that there were proper norms that were laid down. But
Yeah.
in the recent past, these norms were not properly followed by the airline as well as by the technicians, those who are deputed at this airport. So the point is, once again, DGCA has said that they have to follow the norms, part number one, and they have to rigorously follow this in the sense that no lapses has to be there, because we can't say that these norms were not there earlier. The proper norms were there earlier, but what we can say that the following of these norms were not proper, and that has been raised by the DGCA.
Thank you for that, Samir. I just want to have a quick word and a last comment from Dhiraj Mathur. 28th is the deadline. You've talked about how endemically there are not enough people. It's a HR problem. It's a manpower problem. How are they going to manage that gap in such a short time? How are airlines going to manage that gap in such a short time? And are we consequently just going to be seeing more cancelled flights?
Well, the short answer is yes. That's what they have to do. If they can't service the flights properly, there can be no compromise on safety. They have to cancel them. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you don't have the manpower, then you don't fly the aircraft. Because, as we all know, it's sort of a oxymoron to say that there can be no compromise on safety. So if you don't have the people, don't fly the aircraft. Passengers will get inconvenienced, of course they will, but I think safety is more important. And we can't cut corners, and just for the sake of,
I think it's still alarming. It's still alarming to know that we have been cutting corners. This clearly shows that we have been cutting corners.
Exactly.
I think that's part of the story in the headline that we need to emphasize and underline. This clearly proves we have been cutting corners. All of these snags have not come out of thin air. There is an endemic issue which needs to be focused on. Thank you so much, Dhiraj Mathur, as always, for joining us on the show.